I was first introduced to Jerry and Jane Wohletz about 2 years ago. Jerry and Jane have a small farm near Lawrence, Kansas, and Jerry was interested in learning how to better manage his row cover during the wintertime for his annual plasticulture strawberry system.
We've been selling produce at the farmer's market in Lawrence for 10 years. 4 years ago, we're always looking for an item that nobody else was selling. So we started looking around and nobody had any spring fruit. We decided to start a U-pick strawberry patch. That was 3 years ago. This is our third season raising strawberries.
Plasticulture systems are relatively new here in the Midwest, but they've been used quite a bit in the southeastern U.S. and they are very productive in that region. Jerry and Jane are really one of the few growers in this area that are using this type of system for annual strawberry production.
Well, I believe it's a lot easier. We don't have the weed problems that a lot of the matted row producers have. Our berries are up off the ground. Our beds are crowned to where they shed water a lot better than matted row systems. I believe that we conserve water. Using drip irrigation and plastic, every drip of water that goes in the ground is able to be utilized by the plant, and I think we conserve on our moisture.
Annual plasticulture systems require quite a bit different management than the older matted row production, and one of the most important components is how you manage row cover during the winter. If you put the row cover on too early, then the plants may not go into dormancy sufficiently, which makes them more susceptible to winter injury. However, if the row cover is too thick, or if it warms early in the spring underneath of the row cover, then the plants can awaken too early and also be prone to winter damage. So, determining the proper thickness and timing of row cover application is very important for our growers here in the Midwest.
It's very critical to allow your plants to go dormant and stay dormant through the winter, so you can't just cover with a heavy row cover and figure everything's okay, because those plants could come out of dormancy in the middle of winter with a warm sunny day and hurt the plant.
In this experiment, we're looking at 2 different thicknesses of row covers as well as 2 different timings of when they're put on. Typically, what's recommended by growers in the southeastern U.S. is to put your row cover on after you've received 30 nights of temperatures in the 20s. In this area, that typically means we put our row covers on between December 15th and December 20th. One of the things that Jerry wanted us to determine is if we wait longer to put on the row cover, then those plants might have transitioned into dormancy and be better protected against winter damage. The other question is whether we should be utilizing thicker row covers here in the Midwest to protect the plants from the harsher winters. So in this case, we actually have 2 different thicknesses of row covers, each of which are applied at 2 different times, after 25 nights of below 30-degree temperatures and after 35 nights of below 30-degree temperatures. By looking at this plot map, you can see that we have all 4 treatments represented on each row. Then the experiment is actually replicated 4 times across 4 rows. This allows us to use statistics and other mathematical tools to find out if there is a significant difference in the yield and plant growth of the plants under these different growing conditions. Probably the most important piece of data that we're collecting from this trial is fruit yield. Strawberry growers are motivated by the fruit that are produced by those plants because that's what makes money for them and ultimately determines their financial sustainability. So we want to make sure that all fruit produced on the plants within the trial is weighed and recorded. In the spring, we'll harvest once to twice per week, depending on the weather. We've also been collecting a fair amount of plant growth data as well, including bloom counts and plant biomass. When we collect yield data, we'll come out and we'll pick all of the ripe fruit in the trial. In this case, we have 16 plots that have to be individually harvested, graded, and weighed. One factor that's very important for strawberry growers is fruit size. Consumers generally prefer big, beautiful fruit, and because each individual strawberry weighs more, labor costs of harvesting larger fruit are lower than smaller fruit. In order to determine average fruit size, we count out 25 fruit and weigh them. This is commonly known as a 25 count. Once we get our marketable yield as well as our 25 counts and non-marketable yield data, then we're done for the day. We're really fortunate that this project was funded by the North Central Region SARE program through a 2012 Farmer Rancher grant. SARE is short for Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education, and this agency funds small grants specifically to commercial growers to do on-farm research. In this case, Jerry and Jane applied for their SARE grant in December 2011.
It really gave us the opportunity to, put forth the time and the effort and the money that was required to come up with some research and some results that may not only help myself, but help other producers in their decision on whether to grow plasticulture strawberries.
The data collected from these trials are going to be very useful for strawberry growers in the Midwest that are working to implement the annual plasticulture system. And this will give us all better access to delicious local berries. For more information about this work, visit K-State Research and Extension or the SARE program.